space where beauty meets authenticity and transformation is not just a possibility, but a promise. I'm absolutely thrilled to introduce you to someone truly special, Dr. Rukmini Vinaya Rednam, the compassionate force behind the countless remarkable transformations in the vibrant city of Houston, Texas. Picture this: every curve, every contour crafted with care and expertise, not just by a board-certified plastic surgeon, but your very own cheerleader for self-discovery and confidence. Get ready to embark on a journey where we explore the art of science of feeling your very best self. This isn't just a podcast. It's your cozy corner of empowerment and inspiration. So pull up a chair, pour yourself a cup of kindness, and let's dive into the Confidence Doc podcast with Dr. Rukmini Vinaya Rednam.
Hello, I'm Dr. Rednam, and welcome back to the Confidence Doc podcast. I'm very excited because I have a very special guest with me today, Tonya Spanglo, better known as at Taking Back My Life at 42.
Yep. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's exciting to have Tanya because you were actually the first patient that we were having on the show. I wanted to kind of see if you would be willing to share a little bit about kind of like how you found us and what your experience has been like so far. And just for reference, Tanya is now 8 weeks post-op.
Today. I'm 2 months today.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's exciting. I know. It's flown by. Now I can say that. In the beginning, it did not fly by. Pop Recovery, Laura, the CEO of Pop Recovery and Bariatrics to Plastics, she connected me with you guys. And like I said, I had several consults before and they were all men. And as soon as I met with you, I knew that you were the one for me because you made it all about me. You made it about, what area was I most self-conscious about and what did I think was feasible? What could I get through? Because I need a lot of skin removal. And how much could I do? And just all the things that go along with it. You answered every question I had. And so far, the experience has been amazing. It's exceeded all my expectations. And not just because you're sitting here, but like I've told everybody that. Like, if you can get with Dr. Rednam, I had somebody I was visiting with yesterday. She's booking a consult with you.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's straight off of my recommendation because she was like, the way you talk about Dr. Rednam is like, did you guys know each other before she did your surgery? And I was like, no, I didn't know her at all. We literally met. We had consults and Zooms over the phone.
Uh-huh.
I sent my pictures in and the rest is history from there. So I'm super pleased. It's just, like I said, exceeded my expectations. Anytime I had a question, anytime something I felt, maybe this isn't normal or maybe it is, either you would reach out at the right time or I would reach out to you and you text right back or we called each other. And yeah, so it's been great.
Well, that makes me really, really happy.
Yeah, it makes me too.
It is. It's like, I think that people sometimes forget that, like, we're people too on this side. And I love what I do. And if my patients are upset, I'm upset. Like, I take it home with me. And so, like, but also on the flip side, when you're happy, I feel really happy. I'll go home feeling really good too.
Yeah, I'm definitely happy with my results so far. Just being 8 weeks out, the swelling has gone down and my scarring, even my husband and he's even told like several of his friends at work, he was like, if you could see my wife's scars and she's only 8 weeks out, I have one that you can barely see. And so just being 8 weeks out, I've seen pictures because I researched a lot of before and afters before I had my plastics. Scars a year out, 2 years out, they're wide, they're pink, mine do not look like that at all. Mine looks so good. And I know that is attributed to the Bridgets.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of that is from the Bridgets. And so that's something that I had no idea about that you introduced me to. So thank you for that because it all is in the way that you look. In the end, you want the end result to be something that you're happy with.
Absolutely. Because you don't want to trade one source of maybe unhappiness with another, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think also that it's important that people always think about, like, it's better to prophylactically treat something, so it's better to be on top of how your scars are going to look than let's see how you heal and then we'll fix it up. I think that that's also from a timing standpoint. People don't have a lot of time to keep, okay, well, we can just have another surgery, we can do another thing, because not everybody necessarily wants to have another surgery. So I think you always have to keep it in mind that, okay, this is a one-time deal, so I want to make sure I'm knocking out the park from the beginning.
Yes, and so something for you and with me that you did was the fat transfer into my breast lift. That was super important to me because I'm a little bit autoimmune to begin with, and I have a friend that's really, she has several autoimmune conditions, and those were attributed to her breast plants or her breast implants, sorry, which you can't really prove that. But before, she had so many complications and had her implants taken out. And since then, she is so much better. And so that scared me off from getting the implants, and you just doing the fat transfer on me. I'm so happy with that. To me, they just look so natural, and I love that you offered that up to me. I didn't even know it was even a thing. And so instead of wasting all that good fat that you took off, like we put it into my body. So
put it to some good use, right?
Yeah, really.
So let me ask you, we've talked a lot about this obviously before, but what was something that was really holding you back for skin removal?
One was the cost, and then two was I didn't think that I watched my grandbabies a lot, and I did not want my daughter to have to take off, and I would, have to take off work, and I would watch my grandbaby for her. That was a big thing for me, just the recovery. I'm a baby. I'm a weenie. Bobby, he has said several times, like, I don't know if you can make it through this. Like, you need to do as minimal as possible and just take it in like stages. And we just went all in and did it all.
We did.
Did a lot. And I think I've impressed myself with how I've recovered. I've tried to stay positive, and I think that really helps, when you go into surgery and you think that you're going to have a great outcome and you're on top of all of your things like you are and I am, and you're in contact with your surgeon, you can't help but have a positive outcome. I mean, even if an issue comes up, like, we work right through it. And so, yeah, for me, it was the cost and then just the recovery and then so you hear so many horror stories about plastics. Like, you hear people that have had botched surgeries, you see pictures on the internet. And so all of that like scared me away, and not thinking that it was for me. It was always, you hear about how you wear your skin as a badge of honor and you wear it with pride, and it reminds you of where you don't want to go back to. And I think that all of that is true. Like, it is a badge of honor, that skin, while you have it. But if you get the chance to remove it, take it. Because for me, like, the chance finally came up for me, and I took it, and I'm so glad I did. Like, otherwise I would still be at home with my big belly hanging down, and summer's coming. That was a big thing for me. I wanted to be recovered by summer because I swam all summer with Mila, which is something that I couldn't do with my own kids because I couldn't get in and out of the pool unless it was easy access. And so I swam all summer with her. And like last summer, I had so many. You get sweat rashes. I would even have to put like a towel underneath my stomach. And then just not being comfortable in your own skin. And so this summer, I'm looking forward to being comfortable in my own skin. And like, I can't wait. Like, I'm gonna let's put the pool up. Let's get it. Bobby's like, it's 50 degrees outside right now in Oklahoma. Like, it was 80 last week, but it's 50 this week. And I want to put the pool up. I want to get healed up. I want to get in the water. Like, I cannot wait for the summertime. I'm excited. It's just given me like so much confidence.
Well, and that's the end result of any of this, right? Like, weight loss, when you lost your weight initially, was for health, right? It was for health and for confidence, but it's really, at the end of the day, skin removal definitely has health benefits, but there's so much of an impact to your confidence.
Yes, it's crazy. Like, for me, I thought losing 230 pounds, I thought, wow, like, this is such an accomplishment. And even though you don't like what you see in the mirror, because you're left with all of the loose skin after extreme weight loss, that's just the side effect of that. And that was something that I knew going into surgery because my sister had she had weight loss surgery, and she has a lot of loose skin. So I knew that going in. I had seen her arms and her legs and her stomach. And so I knew that was something that was going to happen if I lost all my weight. But when it does happen to you, you think, you're just going to be stuck with the loose skin for the rest of your life. And for me, that wasn't the case. Like, I kept it way longer than I should have. And so yeah, I'm super excited that I did it. And I look in the mirror now and I just feel so confident. Like, whether I have a mirror on the back of my bathroom door. And so as soon as you get out of the shower, it's like, bam, right there is the first thing you see is yourself. And I don't mind it. Like, before, I minded that. Like, I would already have a towel and then pull the shower curtain back. And now I'm just like, nope, let's pull that shower curtain back.
Like, I'm going to sit there and look a little longer.
Yeah. And it's just really like the anatomy of my body. I've been obese all of my adult life. And when I was in high school, I was always the biggest girl, couldn't fit in the desk. In middle school, same thing. Like, I've always been obese. And so I didn't really realize, like, I've seen my mom undress, and I mean, I've raised Kylie, so I've seen her. It's just the anatomy of your body. Like, I didn't realize so many things about the woman body because I've not had that body. I've been obese my whole life. And so I didn't know what the body was actually supposed to look like. And I think it's what I look like right now. And that's exciting for me.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, everybody wants to be their best self. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like you totally are living that now. So for those, for our listeners, will you tell them how much weight you lost?
So I've lost 280 pounds.
And then Tanya had a fleur-de-lis lower body lift, a breast lift, and fat transfer.
And liposuction.
And liposuction, yeah. So she quite a big surgery. And Tanya does live out of town, so she stayed with in town for about 10 days, so we could kind of get her through that early time period. Well, you said you're weenie. You said self.
I am.
But what do you think, like, what surprised you about yourself when you were going through that initial recovery?
I think how strong I was. And even though I had Charvel and I had Bobby there. And so they were helping take care of me and I needed them. But in the moments where I was like, hey, I just walked to the bathroom. Like I didn't even use my walker because I had a walker that I would use, or I had a cane. It was pink and I didn't even use that. So then when you stop using those things that you've been dependent on, or like the raised toilet seat, like for me, not using the raised toilet seat, that's like a little victory. Like after weight loss surgery, you have all these non-scale victories. And so now I feel like I have all these victories again after my plastics. And so not using the raised toilet seat, like I had to use a shower chair. I used a shower chair for 3 weeks. Like every time I showered, every day I used it for 3 weeks without fail. I had to have it because I could not stand the entire shower. So Bobby would come in and help me. And so the first time he was at work and I needed a shower, I was like, I'm going to do it. And it probably not very smart that he wasn't home, but I made it through it. And then I called him. I was like, I just showered by myself. And he was like, did you have the chair behind you just in case? And I was like, no, but it was in the bathroom still, like where we left it. And so it's all those little things that I'm surprised that I made it through as easily as I did, even though it was so hard. Like it was super rough for me. It was super hard, but I made it through it. And so it's like now I'm at the 2-month mark. Today's my 2-month anniversary from plastics. I have another anniversary too. Like I had a weight loss, all these weight loss anniversaries, and now I have a plastics anniversary. But yeah, I'm surprised that I made it through it just pushing forward. Like just every day, like he would have to help me up before he would go to work. He would have to come in and set me up. I was already propped up, but just our bed is super high. And so that was something that I didn't think about it being super high. It helped me when I went to get into bed. But then getting out of the bed, like it's hard to get in and out of a super high bed. So he would have to help me up. And so when we stopped that, he would be at work and are you out of bed? And I was like, yes. And he was like, okay, you did that by yourself. You realize that? And Bobby has said so many times, I'm so proud of you because I honestly thought we were going to be in Houston for like 2 months. And then he was like, you were there for 10 days. You came home and you've killed it. And I feel like I have too. Like, even though I had those hard, rough moments, I feel like I have killed it. So that's an accomplishment.
It's, I've heard you say this before on your social media channels. It's like, my body got cut in half. And it's just unbelievable what the human body is capable of when you put your mind to it and, you go through all this and you're like, I came through all this and I'm better than ever kind of.
Yeah, well, you're in it. Like when you're in it, there's nothing you can do but try to move forward and progress. Like every day I wanted to get out of the bed quicker. Every day I wanted to walk a few more steps. I'm a walker. And so that's one of the reasons why I've lost so much weight. I walk every day. I was walking 5 miles a day and then I went down to 3 miles a day. And so not being able to walk my miles every day, that was my movement for the day. Even though I'm a busybody around my house, like that was my set aside time for me where I moved my body, like no matter what. And so when that stopped, it was crazy to me that I would have to start all over again. So you got to keep a positive attitude about that, because it's like when you're a runner, like if you stop running all of a sudden just abruptly, like I did with this, I have to start over. And like, I know that. And so I'm already walking in my driveway again, not a lot, but I'm walking. I'm not even up to a mile yet, but I'm further along now than I was when I started. And so that's something for me. Something else for me about the surgery also is I had to go back to, like, I've lost all the weight and I pride myself on doing things that I never could do. And so for 4.5 years, I have convinced myself you can go to the grocery store and it's the simplest things that you don't think about if you've never been overweight. Like, you don't realize how much the weight affects your life. So just going to the grocery store for me and making it through that, I would try to time it to where I would pull in the driveway so Bobby could unload the groceries. He'd be pulling in from work. I'd be pulling in from Walmart so he could unload the groceries, because I couldn't do both. When I was 430 pounds, I couldn't go to the store, buy the groceries, unload them. Now, like, I could after I've lost the weight. I'm like, he's like, you need help with the groceries? And I'm like, no, I have it. Like, I'm doing this. Same thing with doing the dishes, doing the laundry, cleaning the house, doing all the things and being so independent. After weight loss surgery, I've had to go back to relying on Bobby. And so that was a mental struggle for me. And I visited with my therapist about that, because it's so mental that you pride yourself on, I'm an independent woman, I'm strong, I'm fierce, I can slay this day, and I can do all of these things that I couldn't do before. And then all of a sudden, you're not. You're in the bed and you're in pain and you need your medication and you need some water and you need bone broth or whatever it is that you need. And your husband or whoever your caretaker is the only one that can help you. And even Bobby, he was like, at one point in time, I was so on his nerves that he was like, do you even realize how much I've done for you in the past 3 weeks? And I was like, I realize it, because those were all things I was doing for myself. And so just going back, it was a little bit of a mental struggle for me.
It is really hard, especially when you have that type A personality and you are used to doing things. There's some people who are used to others helping them a lot. And so in some ways, recovery is easier for them because they're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to have these people. But I definitely see that where it's like a struggle. And I think I fit into that too, where I'm like, no, I can take care of myself. And it is hard to like relinquish control and let somebody else take care of you. But I think a lot of times, and I'm sure even though it may have gone Bobby's nerves later down the road, I'm sure there's a part of him that really loved that he could be able to help.
Oh, yeah. He had a whiteboard and he wrote down my medications and the time, and he would leave for work and my daughter would come in and she'd be like, did Dad give you? He would like checked off. I gave her this, you give her this. They had a whole whiteboard in the bedroom situation going, and I was so sick of seeing that whiteboard. I was like, but actually he's like, it was nice to help you a little bit because that's like, I'm your husband. That's what I'm supposed to do. And he was like, you're so all over the place all the time. You're busy and you have so many things going. You have all these balls up in the air and you don't want one to drop, but you won't let anybody help you. And so with this, like, you're forced to, you have to take the help, whether it was from my daughter or my husband or Charbel or friends that were coming over. I had to have someone drive me around. I needed a dress and I had a thing coming up, an event. So I had to have a friend come and get me and take me dress shopping, which I had to have several breaks that day. But so it's like that. Like you have to rely on other people, which is when like Pop comes in, and that's the support system that you need. You have to have a support system in place before you get the surgery. That was a mistake I made when I got my weight loss surgery. I didn't have a support system in place. And so with this one, it's completely different. Like I feel completely supported.
And it's because, like, you have, like, the ideal spouse who's there to help you, but they're human being too, and they get tired. And especially when they're not used to having that role, it becomes difficult for them. And so, yes, having that outside help with something like Pop is absolutely what you need, because then you don't have to worry, too, that you're stressing out your caregiver as well at the same time.
Yeah, there were definitely some moments where he was huffing and puffing doing the dishes, like, I've done these 10 times already. Like, and I would try to walk through with my walker and he was taking the clothes out of the dryer. But I was kind of like, it's a little nice to see you do these things. Like,
you're like, I've done it for a real
yeah, because I'm home all day while he's at work all day.
Yeah.
And so I do clean the house and keep those things done. And so seeing him, he had to work and then come home and take care of me, plus do keep the house in order. And it's a job. Like, that was a job for him. I'm super great. I need to go home and tell him that now that I'm having this conversation. It makes me
appreciate you.
Yeah, it makes me be even more grateful for him because he did do all that. I only complained just a handful of times. So
were there any things that were maybe negative that surprised you about having, not just the skin removal, weight loss, that you're like, gosh, I didn't really realize that this would change in a negative way, maybe?
No, I honestly, like the whole not wearing a bra. So for me, I've had to wear, like, I've relied on like ribbed bralettes is what they're called. I bought so many different kinds, and some irritated me, some didn't. I have the scarring underneath my armpits. So some of them irritated me and some of them didn't. So the not wearing a bra, that has not really been an issue, but it's so weird to not wear a bra when you wear a bra every day.
Yeah.
It's so weird to feel like you don't have on a bra, but you really have on just a little bitty bralette with no support. So that's been really weird. No, I don't think I've had anything that's really negative besides like the pain in my stomach. Like, even being 2 months out now, I still have a little bit of pain in my stomach if I move a certain way. Like, I fell at the house 2 days ago. I fell in the nighttime. And I got tripped up and twisted my foot and my ankle. And so the first thing that I hit was my hip. Well, that was right where I got my liposuction. So that was concerning. I was like, oh, what if I've messed that up or done something to that? And my head hit the closet door. And so that was,
I didn't hear about anything.
yes. And that was the first time I've been on the floor, actually, since surgery. So I've not been on the floor and been able to get myself up. So I just haven't gone on the floor since surgery.
Yeah.
And so Bobby immediately rushed up. He's like, let me help you up. And I was like, no. And I felt sick to my stomach. And so I got myself up though. And then when I got up, I was like, hey, I can get on the floor because I can get up. And that wasn't something I thought I could do this soon. And so I think I've really done well. Like I haven't had really any negative things at all. Wearing the faja, the compression garment, I will say that takes some getting used to for me. But I enjoy, for me, and I know I've visited with several people, and I think it's half and half. Some people love the compression. It feels better to them. And other people are like, when do I stop wearing this? Because I hate this thing. And so I've had both sides of that. And for me, I feel like I have it on right now, and I've tried to wear it as much as I can. I've traveled a lot, and so I haven't worn it as many places. I feel better compressed. Like it makes me feel more secure. Everything's where it's supposed to be. So I would say though, it takes some getting used to, because in the beginning, I think I had it on too tight and I couldn't breathe. Like when I was trying to sit up, it made it harder to sit up, but I loosened it up and it was fine. So you have to like get the hang of it.
Yeah. It's funny. I think most people like they grow to love it, but then there gets to be a point where then they're like, you know what? It's especially when summer rolls around, they're like, can I stop wearing this thing? I've had a couple people who don't ever want to take it off because I think they get so used to that feeling. I'm like, no, you don't need it. Like it's a temporary thing to have. You know, at the end of the day, you want to get the best results. And so if you want to get those really good swelling, I usually tell people 6 months. And that's a long time. If we can hit 3 months, I'm like, that's majority of the people. But like at the end of the day, you put so much into this, like blood, sweat, and tears. So it's like at that point, you're like, why not just go for the best result you could possibly
Right.
have.
And I have a friend that she had her plastics done, and she has the same faja similar to what I do, but without the leg part. And so she says she will, and she's about 1.5 years out. She will put hers on if she feels bloated, if she feels like, I'm not looking as trim as I was. And she would wear it for like 2 weeks, and she swears it helps. She swears. She's like, I take that faja off from having it on 2 weeks and my waist is back.
I bet it's similar to people who just wear waist trainers. Like, they've never had surgery. You wear it consistently, you're going to look a little bit better. And it's just because you're kind of squeezing whatever extra little swelling we all have throughout the day.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So another question for you, which I know has been brought up, is like, you've shared everything and you've been very honest with how you've shared when you had an infection in your belly button, when something was not going exactly right, or when somebody made a comment that wasn't that great. I know that more than one person, and ideally, hopefully well-meaning, would be like, oh, well, when are you going to do your next surgery? Like, how did it make you feel? And like, what are your thoughts on that? Like when somebody says that to you?
At first, I was jarred by those comments. That's just me being honest. I was offended a little bit at first, but that's just like the human side of me, like not the social media side of me. That's just like Tanya, like I just had major surgery and I got those comments as quick as being 2 days out. I already had women in my comments saying like, why didn't you get your arms in at the same time? Like you should be. And I was like, well, for one, I'm not a robot. Like I couldn't possibly get my arms done at the same time. But when are you going to get your legs? What's next? Arms or legs? And so you're going to get those comments. And so at first I was jarred by it. At first I was offended. I was like, ugh, like, whatever I do, it's never enough. Like I've had 20 pounds of loose skin removed and that still is not enough for America. But then when I sit back and I look at it, I'm like, you know what? These people rely on me every day. Like we just had a get together and every day these people are like, I wake up in the morning, you're the first face I want to hear. I want to see. Yeah. You're the first voice I want to hear. I want to see what you're doing or what you're drinking. What's the water of that day or how you are in your recovery. And so I really feel like I owe it to those people to be like more compassionate and more understanding of their comments, where they're coming from, because I do choose to put my entire journey out there. And so they should feel comfortable enough to ask me, when you're going to get your arms done, or are you going to get your arms done? Are you considering these things? And so at first I was like, like enough is never going to be enough for you guys. But then once I really thought about it, I'm like, you know what? If they want to ask those questions, they can, and they should feel, my followers, the community that I'm in, the weight loss community, should be comfortable enough with me because I do share so much to ask those questions. And so I should, not that I feel obligated to ever answer a comment, but I should be more respectful and be like, you know what, maybe it's in the future for me. At first, I was like, enough is never enough. And now I'm like, we'll see. The further out I get, I think we'll see like even more.
Well, and even me looking at those comments, I kind of felt angry too. I'm like, she just had surgery.
It was like 2 days. Like my first comment like that was like the second day. And I didn't even see it first. My daughter did. And she called me and was like, Mom, don't even look at your comments today because people are already asking, like, when are you going to get your arms done? Or why didn't you get your legs done at the same time since you did a lower body lift?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are uneducated, though. They think that I shouldn't have the thigh skin on the inside because I got the lower body lift, and that's not like they're
That's different,
uneducated
yeah.
on that. It's a
Yeah.
different surgery, and people don't know that. And so I kind of think I had an actual comment explaining it in a really good way. It's kind of like you share this entire journey. Let's say that you're fixing up a house.
Yeah.
Like you're fixing like a fixer-upper, you know, you're watching the whole episode and you want to see the final result at the end. So it's kind of like that with me sharing my entire weight loss journey of losing the 280 pounds. And then me just at the very end being like, all right, that's it. You don't know if I'm going to get my arms or legs done. I would never. Like I would never do that. So if I do choose to get the arms and legs done, of course, America will know. And if I don't, they'll know that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think people, for the majority, 99% of the time, they mean it well. Like they don't mean anything bad by it. And whether maybe I'm having a bad day that day, because that is how the comments affect you. Sometimes I'm more sensitive. And I think after surgery, I was a little sensitive after surgery. And so I think comments that normally would have never bothered me, I was in such a mental health state, like I said earlier, about having to give Bobby total control over what I ate and what I wore that day and what moo I put over my faja, you know? And so I was a little bit sensitive. And so then when I read those comments, being more sensitive, I was a little awestruck by it. Like, you know, enough's enough. But now that I've healed more and I'm at a better mental spot, I see those comments as they mean well. They don't mean anything by it.
And I think you're right. People don't, there's not a lot of education out there with it. And I think that a lot of the shows that have been on TV, let's say, they show that you do see like maybe an end product that's like after a year or something. So people don't really realize that, well, actually that was a lot of spacing between there. And it's like, how are you physically going to get up and move if you have surgery everywhere? How is that safe? And I don't think that people think about that stuff. They're just like, well, you can just get it all done. I'm like, well, you won't have any blood left. Like,
right. And there's a time limit. About the time limit.
Exactly.
Like,
we were just about at the top of that time limit.
What we can get in is what we're going to get in. And so like if we can't fit your arms in, we can't fit them in. If we can't fit your breast lift in, we'll have to do that next. Like, and I respect that. Like as a surgeon, I want you to tell me those things. Like, hey, we have a time limit of however many hours, and we have to stay under that for your safety. Yeah. And like for me, I respect that. So,
and there are going to be people that are going to say, sure, we'll do everything all at once, but it's just, it's not
too much.
It's too much. Like, how can one person's body go through all of that? You know? And like you said, this was a challenge enough. Like, and you know, I think that in the future, you ever choose to do something, you're more mentally, now you know a little bit, because it's hard in that first situation. You're like, I don't really know what to expect. I can guess, but you know, you don't know what to expect.
Yeah, until you're in it, you don't know. Like you can research and do and talk to people who've done it and get the best advice, but until your body has went through the surgery and you deal with what your body is going through, you're different than everybody. Like it's the same thing with your weight loss journey. Everyone's journey is different. Someone might recover in so many months or weeks. I've had people comment on the fact that I can't stand up straight still. I have a poor posture issue already. And then on top of my plastics. And so I really have a hunch. So I've had several people comment like, why are you not standing up straight? I think you should visit with a doctor about that. Like, that's not normal. Which first, when you get those comments, you're like, are you a doctor?
I was like, yeah.
The question to that is usually no. The answer to that is no.
Be breathing that way. Why are you breathing that way? I'm
yes.
Like, okay.
Yes. And then the breath, like me being out of breath.
Yeah.
But the thing about me being out of breath is like what you were saying earlier. I'm a different type of person. I'm so all over the place all the time. I'm super high energy. Even my husband is like, you have not sit down all day. Like on a Saturday, he'll be like you didn't sit down in like 20 hours. Like you need to sit down. And same thing. So I think I don't have my energy back. I don't have my breath back. But if I was a normal person who sit down, relaxed, rested, didn't talk so fast, I do have my energy back.
Yeah.
It just isn't, I don't have my high
You just
energy
feel like
back.
you're supercharged back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like my superwoman power charge. So yeah, I do have my breath back and I do have my energy back. It's just not where it was because I'm so high energy. So I think that's a lot of it too. Like the questions about you're hunched over still. Why are you still hunched over? Because I have a posture issue on top of the plastics. It's not just the plastics. People don't know all those things. So
I know. And also when you have more skin removed, things become more visible too. So somebody may not have noticed something before and you're like, oh, I see that now.
Yes.
So,
and I've been super tight. Like you told me, you will overcorrect because I have my skin is so stretchy and so elasticity, I think is what you said. So you'll overcorrect and make it super tight, which makes it extra hard to stand up straight for me. So it's been like a process of like an angle. You started out here and you've had to go over the past 2 months. I've had to make myself stand up straight.
And it's amazing too, because like when you get to that, like, and it may be more earlier than 6 months, but usually by 6 months, people are just like, yeah, it just feels like normal again. And like, it's hard to remember. It's almost like childbirth. It's like hard to remember, like, how rough it was, because you're like, well, no, I'm here now. I'm good. I'm happy.
Yeah, yeah. The further out you get, of course, it's going to be like that.
Yeah.
I still have numbness around my scar areas. I'm still numb, and so I've been trying on. I need new clothes because none of my clothes fit, especially my pants. I have no pants that fit, and so I just bought a pair of pink pants, and they're a size 6, and so I'm super excited about that. And I don't even care if they're stretchy or not. Like they're a 6, and I'm in a 6. So, but it's so weird to pull up pants because I'm numb.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't really know, like, if they're up or not, like in the back. I can't tell because I'm so numb. And so that's something that, like, that's a little bit weird.
It is a strange process. So nerves will only grow an inch a month, and the nerves have to grow from a place where the nerves are normal. So even though the nerves aren't like removed fully with the surgery, any place that we kind of touched is like shocked. And so that slow process. So sometimes, I mean, if you think about that, it can be 1 to 2 years, and it'll just be that slow process where all of a sudden you're like, oh, I guess I kind of feel that more, it just kind of slowly creeps up on you.
Yeah. And I've had like the zaps, I've had those where the nerves grow back together. I've had some in my abdomen, and I just had 2 yesterday, and they were on my side. And so I've never had any there. And so that was different for me.
It's your way of kind of knowing how you're progressing, because they'll slowly keep moving inward, and then you're like, oh, I'm almost to my belly button.
Yeah. And so that's totally weird, because all of a sudden it comes out of nowhere. It's like, zzz, like a little bit of electrocution. And so, but like you're saying, every time that happens since you told me that, I'm like, oh, I'm healing. Like I'm healing more,
Yeah. Have you noticed any of that, like deep like where it feels like you have a deep itch?
On my sides. I have like some on my sides and then a little bit on my back.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been bad.
Okay, some people will tell me it's like, I can't do anything to get it. It's so deep. And I'm like, it's just part of healing, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I haven't had that.
Well, that's good. Moisturizing obviously is really big afterwards, because usually you'll notice you're really dry afterwards. Yes. And because your skin holding moisture has a lot to do with your nerve sensation. So if you lose sensation like in your hand, you'll notice your hand starts getting super dry. So it all kind of goes part and parcel with it. But it's the parts of healing that like are annoying afterwards, but you get used to it, and you're like, it'll go away eventually.
Yeah.
So is there something you've been waiting to go shopping to buy? Like something that's like, you're like, I'm going to wait and get this.
So after we were on our way home, actually, and I bought, I had to go get some of the bras, the rib bras that I was telling you about that I got. They have the little cuff at the bottom, but it's not like tight. You can stretch them out. I found a lace bra and panty set. So I'm 46, and I've never had a matching bra and panty set ever. I've never had, because I always had to either this didn't match this, the bottoms didn't match the tops, and I'm always like a granny panty girl, like the big brief, And so I bought a lace black little bra, and I have it on. I think I have it on right now, and so I have that. But the little lacy underwear that match it, I bought those, and I just wore it. Like, I just wore it. So for me, that's a huge thing, because like every woman wants to have a matching bra and panty set.
Yeah.
Every woman wants to look in the mirror in the matching bra and panty set and be like, I look amazing. And I feel like I do look amazing in it. Like,
yeah,
I look amazing in it. Ask Bobby. I'll tell you, I do. I look amazing in it. So it's just lacy, and it's black, and it's the cutest, sexiest little bra and panty set.
And I'm so good.
I'm
right?
super proud of that.
Sexy, right?
Well, and the panties. So I've always had a belly. I've never not had a belly, ever. And so I've never seen the top of my underwear. Like, it's always been, my belly was lapping over it. And so it didn't really matter to me. Like, honestly, when I was 430 pounds, I didn't care what my underwear looked like, as long as I had underwear on. I don't care what they look like.
Yeah.
The bigger, the better back then. But now I have flip-flopped, and I'm kind of like, the smaller, the better. And that's completely different and wild for me to even like, I came out of the bedroom, and I came and walked down the hallway, and I was hoping that he was like standing in the living room and he could like see me. And he was like, what do you have on? And he was like, come here. And yeah, but I was getting dressed. We were going to dinner. And so that was an amazing moment. Like, anytime your husband looks at you with the eyes of like, you're sexy, like, it makes you feel good. There's no denying that it makes you feel good.
That's awesome, because I mean, that's the whole point. Like, it's just to feel happy all around, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can't pinpoint exactly what you're going to get after surgery. Like, everybody, like, the obvious things, but there's so many small little things that just make you smile.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that for me, it was the bra and panty set. Like, that's a huge thing for me.
So we know in another month that basically everything, the fat grafting, what's there is there. And so at that point, you're going to be able to start wearing regular bras again and things like that. What's your kind of goal for you once you're able to fully get back to your working out? Like, are you going to continue walking? Do you have things that you've been, I guess, always wanting to do that you didn't feel like you physically could do before?
I would love to like lift weights. I would love to lift a little bit of weights. I have a kettlebell at home and some hand weights. I would love to get back into doing that more and then add that to my walking. I'm a walker. Like, I love to walk. I even would love to do like a little bit of a jog. I don't like, I try to jog, but I've been so disproportionate with the belly hanging down. And so I don't have the belly now. And so I'm curious to see, because Bobby will always be like, don't do that. Like, don't jog. You look like a chicken. Like, you don't have your legs underneath you. You don't have your legs underneath you. You look like, because you're out of proportion. Because the top half of me has been smaller, and then my midsection was huge. And so now I don't have the huge midsection. So I'm curious to see if I can jog and just like feel normal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, like it says, it's the little things that make a big difference. So, and I feel like you seem like you probably have more energy than you, even though I know you're still recovering, than you ever really had, you know?
Yeah, I will have. Like, I know the further out I get, the more my energy is going to be like right there, top notch again. And it's going to be even better. I feel like it's going to be even better.
We're going to be able to handle that level of energy.
Yeah, they will.
It's like, and I know that it's been really important and wonderful for you to be able to spend time with your family and your grandkids, especially everything you want to do now.
Yeah, that's the goal for me, was with a whole weight loss, is like, of course the weight loss is for me. The plastics is for me. It's about how I feel when I look in the mirror. It's all for me. But like, it's a ripple effect. You know, my husband is affected by that because I'm so much of a better wife than I was before. And my grandbabies, like, I'm such a good grandma with them. I can get in the floor. I can play with them. We can do Barbies. We can run, and we can get in the pool when summer's about to come. And so I'm super pumped for all the things that I'm going to get to like not miss out on, that I feel like I miss out on with my kids. So that makes me really proud to say, like, even though I missed out on it with my kids, I'm not going to miss out on it with my grands. And so for me, it's priceless.
I love that. You mentioned that earlier at our event today, that the ripple effect. And I think you're right. It's like when you're happy and you feel good, that everybody else around you starts feeling better too, because they love you.
Yes. And that's what you want, though. Like, you want it to be for you, and you want it's going to start with you, but then it finishes with everyone around you. Like, I feel like my kids are affected by my weight loss and now my plastics, because I'm so much more confident. Like, I can portray that to my daughter, you know, and just talk her through things that she's going through. And I can portray that to my granddaughters. And so, like, I really want to be a role model. And I want my grandkids to be like, look what my JoJo did. Like, I have a picture and I'm bigger in the picture. It's Kylie's wedding day. And so we'll go in the bedroom and Mila will see that. And she looks at me and she looks at that picture and she knows it's me, but I'm huge in that picture. And so she will say, big JoJo? And she just looks at me like, so there'll come a day, like, she's 5 right now. Maybe she'll be 7, maybe she'll be 8. I don't know how old she will be, but there's going to come a day when she looks at that picture and she's going to be like, what happened? Like, why are you big in this picture, but in front of me in my whole life, you've been smaller? And I can't wait to tell her. Like, I can't wait to tell her, like, you saved my life, Mila. Like, she was 6 months old.
Yeah.
She was trying to crawl and I couldn't help her. I got in the floor and I couldn't get up. And so I couldn't help her, and she could have got out the door that day and my mom was there. And it's a whole big, long story, but that's the day, with Mila and my mom having Alzheimer's, that's the day I decided to change my life. Like, that's the day that I said, enough is enough. Anytime you put your granddaughter in danger, or my mom had Alzheimer's and she could have got out the front door that day. And so anytime you put your family's life in danger, all because of your weight, it changes your life. And so Mila, my mom's passed away now. My mom is such a huge part of that factor, but Mila's what's left. And so there's going to come a day when I'm going to tell her, you saved my life.
She's going to be so proud when she hears your story.
I know. And she looks at that picture now and she doesn't get it, but she's going to get it. Like, I'm going to make sure that she knows how important that is to me.
Well, thank you so much for coming today and sharing. You inspire so many women. You really do. And I know that that's important for you too.
It is.
Because that's part of your journey as well. And, you know, just that's why I love what I do too, is just because I get to see men and women who do these amazing things. And sometimes it doesn't have to be something groundbreaking to make differences in other people's lives, because I think that if that's what we're here for, is we all are here to help other people. And if we all make little differences in other people's lives, we make likes a pretty happy world.
Right. That's for me is the goal. I needed inspiration in my life back then. When I was bigger, I needed inspiration and motivation. And I would look up weight loss stories and I would look for inspiration in places. And that's why I'm on the internet every day, sharing my everyday life and just showing people that you can do this. Like you think you can't, and maybe you're at your lowest of low, or maybe you're at your highest weight ever, and you want to change, but you don't know how. Come and find me, please. I want you to find my page because I'm the inspiration that I needed back in the day, and I didn't have. There wasn't such things as people sharing their journey every day back then, and now everyone is sharing it, and I love it. Like what we were saying earlier, it's just going to be a ripple effect. Like if we can, I just want to change one life a day, but that's 365 lives a year. And so that's why I do what I do.
It makes a big, big difference.
Thank
Thank
you.
you again so much for coming on our show.
Thank you for having me. I just love you.
And thank you all for listening, and tune into the next episode of the Confidence Doc podcast. We will have some exciting stuff to talk about. Thanks so much, Tanya.
Thank you.
As we wrap up another episode of the Confidence Doc, I want to extend our heartfelt thank you for being a part of our community. If today's conversation resonated with you, remember that Dr. Rednam and her team are here to support you on your journey to self-confidence and beauty. Your story is unique, and it's our privilege to help you create the masterpiece that is your life. If you'd like to book a consultation with Dr. Rednam, you can visit her webpage at drrukminirednam.com. Fill out a contact form, and one of her coordinators will get with you accordingly.